What's going on, guys? So you are in for a special video today. We are actually going to take this 2025 Toyota Tacoma TRDPro. This thing has an absolutely insane power plant. It's the iForce Max 2.4 liter turbocharged hybrid engine that produces 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. This is a four-wheel drive off-road beast with TRD tuned suspension. There are actually Fox shocks up front and Fox reservoir remote shocks in the back. This thing is pretty much, I hate to say it, I'm going to say it, but this is like a baby Raptor from Toyota. Has a wide body kit on it, has a really wide aggressive stance, Goodyear Wrangler tires, 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler tires, beautiful color accents and contrasting tones everywhere. I really like that white and black mix. I love how they've done the top portion of the cab in black. I'm actually thinking and considering doing it to my truck. Drop a comment below, let me know what you think. I know a lot of manufacturers do it, even Lincoln and Cadillac and all sorts of brands, but looks beautiful. All LED headlights, LED everything, has rigid floodlights down at the bottom, or fog lights, has a really cool light bar that's integrated below the Toyota symbol right there. Front parking sensors, rear parking sensors, heated and ventilated seats. This thing is absolutely loaded with tech and features that you typically don't see on mid-size pickup trucks. Power passenger seat, that's something you typically don't see on mid-size pickup trucks. It has a really cool decorative hood scoop up front that is non-functional, and it even has a remote power down and power up tailgate, which again, you don't see on mid-size pickup trucks. It's kind of crazy what they're including with this truck. And when you see it coming down the road, you almost are going to mistake it for being a Tundra, a full-size truck, but it's not. It's got rock sliders going down the side. It has some really insane seats. Let me show you those real quick. These are actually called isodynamic seats. These things are crazy. They have shock absorption built into them, and you can actually adjust the pressure of the shock absorbers to increase or decrease their functionality. And this is absolutely crazy. And that essentially means that they're prepared for you to do some pretty crazy off-road, possibly jumps with this truck, because you need to be able to protect your back. That said, it does take up a little bit of room back here, and when I say a little bit, I mean a lot of room, and you lose a significant amount of legroom for rear seat passengers. So if you're getting this as a family vehicle and you're trying to justify it, just keep in mind, if you have taller kids in the back, this could be an issue. And if you get into an accident or a problem, or you're off-roading with your kids in the back and they're not secured really well and their head goes forward, that is definitely not something I'd want to hit my head on, or I'd want my child to hit their head on. So this is something to keep in mind. This might be a little bit of a game changer for folks who want this but also want to use it as a family vehicle. You have 2,400 watts of AC power back here, as well as in the bed of the truck. I think it's shared. 2 USB-C outlets back here. It is absolutely nuts. But what is really cool is you get all this horsepower in a package that still accomplishes 22 miles per gallon in the city and 24 miles per gallon on the highway with a combined 23 mpgs. That is absolutely insane. And if they can do that, why can't more vehicles get super powerful engines but really good fuel economy? Especially considering the fact that this thing can tow like 6,100 pounds and it has 1,200 pounds worth of cargo capacity as configured. So when we looked at some of the other vehicles that came in higher trim packages, you saw that their payload numbers dropped to like 1,000 pounds or right around there. This one still gives you 1,200 pounds worth of cargo capacity in a package that is not just fully loaded, but beyond fully loaded with all sorts of stuff. Skid plates, crazy seats up front, all sorts of crazy things, heated and ventilated, full navigation system. I mean, it really is loaded to the gills. Has a rear view camera mirror on it. Again, stuff you typically don't see in this size and configuration of truck. But if you're wondering how much this costs, $67,974, which, to be honest with you, is very expensive for a mid-size truck. However, this number, based on what I've seen and what is in this truck and what you get, is actually a little lower than I thought it would be based on the package. And the bed is a really great kind of plastic composite bed, plus you have LED lighting there on the side, plus a full track system. You have power back here, USB, you have all sorts of power on one side, then you have that 2,400 watts worth of power on the other side. You have a rear sliding window, crazy aggressive suspension, ARB rear bumper on this thing with recovery points as well. And you can use the whole thing as pretty much a step, which is awesome. And again, you have a power down and a power up tailgate. It even has a built-in dash camera. So you get a built-in off-road action camera and a spot back here to actually mount a GoPro. Is that not cool? So you actually get all sorts of crazy things included that you might add if you're going to really use this truck for serious off-roading. Anyways, again, let's get inside and hit the road. This thing has a wider stance than what you might think because of the flares on the side. So you definitely want to be a little careful if you're going to be going through things, because it's not as narrow as it might otherwise assume to be from the inside of the truck. Now, before we go down this really bumpy road, one thing I want to mention is that these seats, they really grip you well. They really hold you in the seat because of all the bolstering, and these are like true off-road racing seats. Just keep in mind that it's a bit difficult to get in and out of this vehicle. It's almost like getting in and out of a supercar because the seat hugs you so well, and it kind of lifts up on the sides in such a way that when you're lifting your leg over and out of it, you might actually catch yourself between the steering wheel and the seat, and it can create a bit of a binding situation. So you might have to adjust your seat down a little bit. Thankfully, they're both power seats, so it's not that difficult. Your recline feature, though, is not power. It's a manual recline feature, but just wanted to share that real quick. Okay. We are hitting some bumps, and what I can tell you is it definitely has a very off-road tuned suspension. It is a bit bumpy, but yeah, you can definitely tell the suspension is designed to be able to absorb some impacts. Okay, so down here in South Texas, I don't have any mountains. I don't have any rock climbing. I don't have any of the crazy aggressive off-road environments that many other automotive review outlets have. But what I do have is a beach. And as cool as it is to go over rocks and everything else, there's a lot of folks who can do that and are probably delivering you that type of content. For me, though, taking out to the beach is kind of one of those scenarios that I can kind of emulate our off-road environment and let you know how this thing performs in sand. This is a really capable vehicle, and whenever you're considering something like this, you're probably looking at it from a couple different angles. First of all, you probably want something that just looks badass, and this does. This absolutely checks that box like 15 times over. You're looking for something that's powerful. Yeah, that's also something you can definitely get out of this because it has a tremendous amount of power. You're looking for something that has curb appeal, something that you're going to drive around and people are going to look at and they're going to say, what the heck is that? That looks awesome. And this definitely checks that box. You're looking for something with a lot of amenities, a lot of technology, a lot of features. You don't want to pay this much money, have the outside package and all that stuff in place just to find out that it's lacking on the interior and it's lacking in the technology department. Well, with all the stuff that I already went over at the beginning of this video, the camera package, all of that, you're checking that box again multiple times, especially for a mid-sized truck, which traditionally isn't going to have as much tech. So this thing is loaded to the gills. A few tiny little things missing, but not much, like memory seats. That's probably the only thing I can think about. A power recline feature is probably also one, but again, this does have power seats, but I'm assuming there's a reason why it doesn't have the power recline feature. On top of that, you're probably looking for a vehicle that is going to be able to act as a fire extinguisher. What do I mean by that? It's going to have the capability to do all sorts of things you will likely never use it for, but you want to have those capabilities just in the event you need them. You want to know that if I do go to that super off-road area, if I do find myself in a scenario where I need to get out of a situation or get into a situation, I have the capability of doing that. That's the reason why a lot of people get a Raptor, a TRX, some of these vehicles. They want all the luxury, they want the crazy cool looking, kind of unique, one-of-a-kind-ish exterior. They want that wide body. They want all of that stuff. They're willing to spend the money for it, but then they also don't plan on using it in a really aggressive way. They just want to know that they can if they need to, right? If they're in a situation where they're going to go out to the beach, they're going to go out to Moab, they're going to go out to these scenarios, that they can get out of a situation they might get themselves into, or they can just explore in a way that most people wouldn't be able to with their vehicles. I sure know that if I had this and it was torrential downpour, semi-hurricane type environment, I'm going to a place that I need to get through that, I'd feel pretty dang safe in this truck. I'd feel like I could accomplish it. So this is the reason a lot of people get these trucks, right? They have the money to spend and they want all of that. And this definitely checks all those boxes. From a driving perspective, it's really pleasant to drive. I mean, you're gonna hear that engine tone. It's a lot like a Raptor or a TRX, where they're gonna let you know that you have something that is modified, that is more powerful than the traditional truck. And you can hear it on the inside. So if you don't want that noise, I don't know if there's anything you can really do about it. It's gonna sound a little bit louder, and you may or may not appreciate that when you're on a long road trip and you want something that's just really quiet, or maybe you like hearing the engine kind of a droning noise the entire time you're driving. Me personally, it sounds great when you want to hear it, but there's a lot of times at highway speeds where I'm just wanting a quiet, relaxing ride. I don't want to have to turn the radio up louder, all of that stuff. And I could appreciate a vehicle that's a little bit quieter to deal with. Again, when we look at what this vehicle is designed to do, I think you kind of expect that type of sound coming from the engine. So, you know, I don't really knock it for that. It's just, you have to understand what you're getting into. Also, acceleration in this truck is absolutely insane. It accelerates really quickly. I don't know what the 0 to 60 number is. I'm sure I could look it up, but the fact of the matter is, when you get something like this, you're probably not looking for like TRX level acceleration. You're looking for something that can get you into traffic quickly, maintain speed up when you need to, but then also give you the fuel economy you're looking for. And that's really where this excels over a lot of some of the other vehicles, is that you get a lot of the performance, but you get a really reasonable fuel economy number. And you're in the mid-20 range, which again is pretty dang phenomenal for a vehicle like this, especially one that gives you the performance characteristics that this gives you. And we're gonna see how this thing performs. You know, you gotta be a little careful on the hard turns though, because it definitely wants to lean. And I got a little bit of it there, along with a little bit of a tire squeal while I was taking that turn. I wasn't going real fast. But again, this is definitely made for more of an off-highway type environment. Now the sand looks semi-packed, but again, this is just the area that everyone kind of drives out to as they enter into the beach. Definitely not going to do any dune driving, but we will try to get into some soft stuff. Now I really want to drive through some of this stuff. It doesn't look super rough on camera, but it is definitely rough, but we want to be in four-wheel drive for that, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to 4 high. So the process to switch to your different drive modes is pressing this button in on the side and then switching to the drive mode you want to be in. Let's go ahead and put it back in drive, see if we can shift our drive mode a little bit. We are now in 4 high. Let's see what I can do here. So we're going to shift this up to sand right there, because that's what we're going through. But yeah, let's drive through some of this craziness. Let me show you what it looks like before I put the camera back up. So I don't know if you can see that, but that is pretty dang insane. Those sand dunes, they're not really dunes, it's just where sand's compiled, and I think people have just driven through it a lot, but you can see where people are driving through it over here. But let's see how this performs going over that stuff. Let's see how this goes. Wow, that is some insane stuff. Whew. I'm not lying, this is probably a couple feet in some cases. I might even bottom out in a couple areas. Okay, so we are going to hit up this area, or this is really soft stuff. I don't think we're going to have any problem going through this. It's squishy, all right. But yeah, I'm not feeling any real struggle going through this soft sand. And this is pretty dang soft. You can definitely tell where the Jeep guys have been out earlier, because these definitely look like Jeep tracks going through here. Probably even get up here into a little bit softer area. I don't have any recovery gear with me, so I definitely don't want to get stuck. I do not have the diff locked because I don't feel like I need it locked right now. It's getting real deep over here. Okay, so I just spent some time talking to the police officer out here who enforces all this, and he gave me permission to take this truck into an area that normally you're not going to be able to drive in because it's closed off. But he said, hey, you know what, I'll let you drive in there for a little bit if you want to really test this thing out. I know it's pretty soft. Okay, so beach patrol's out here. They let me go out in this area. Man, I can't believe there's beer cans out here. He's letting me have some fun. You see him parked up over there watching me. This is one heck of a beast, and I'm going to tell you that it's a fun truck. We are going to head back and get this video wrapped up, but I can tell you this is one heck of a capable vehicle, and I think for most folks this is beyond what they would ever need to go wherever they plan on going. But super fun truck. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, I'd appreciate it if you took a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.